The war was almost over, and humanity was about to lose. Across Earth, the night skies no longer showed stars. Instead, they glowed with the fire of burning ships and cities. Broken towers stood like skeletons over dead streets. Silence ruled where millions once lived. Humanity's proudest achievements had been turned into ashes. Deep below the ruins of an old capital, in a hidden command center, the last leaders of Earth gathered. Their faces were marked with fear and exhaustion. Each of them carried the same heavy truth. The enemy was unstoppable. The aliens that came from the void were not conquerors. They were executioners. Their ships were vast, their weapons endless, and their cruelty unmatched. Whole continents had fallen in days. Every human fleet, no matter how advanced, had been swept aside like dust. General Marcus Hale stood at the center of the room, staring at a glowing map. Red marks spread across every corner of the Earth. Green marks, small and fading, showed the last human resistance. He did not need to speak. Everyone already knew. The end was near. A cold silence filled the room until one voice broke it. Dr. Elena Reyes, a scientist whose tired eyes still burned with determination, leaned forward. Her voice was quiet but sharp. There is one path left. One call we have not made. The others turned to her, doubtful. Too many promises had already failed. She continued, in the oldest alien records, there are warnings. Warnings of a species so dangerous, so violent, that the galaxy erased their name from history. They were exiled, banished. Even mentioning them was forbidden. Her words struck the room like lightning. General Hale frowned. Stories. Nothing more. Traitors tell ghost tales to frighten children. You want us to rely on legends. Reyes shook her head firmly. Not legends. Evidence. Civilizations disappeared after meeting them. Armadas were torn apart in days. Empires with thousands of years of power avoided them. Even now, their shadow haunts alien memory. They are called the most dangerous species. The room grew colder. One of the politicians shouted, "You're insane. If these creatures exist, they will kill us before they help us." Reyes' voice remained steady. If we do nothing, we are already dead. The enemy will erase us in weeks, maybe days. If there is even a chance that they exist, if there is even a chance they could fight our enemy, shouldn't we try? No one spoke. The silence was heavier than before. Every face carried the same thought. There was no hope left. General Hale closed his eyes. He had led countless battles, seen victory and defeat, but never such despair. Finally, he opened them and said, "If the legends are true, then perhaps they are the only ones who can turn this war." The president, her hands trembling, lifted her head. Her voice was weary but resolute. "Do it. Send the call. If this is humanity's end, let us face it with every choice made. Even this." The decision was final. Humanity would reach out to the most feared species in the galaxy. The engineers moved quickly, though fear slowed their hands. Deep beneath the Earth, in a forgotten vault, they uncovered a strange object, the beacon. It had been discovered decades ago on Mars, buried in stone older than human history. No one had dared to activate it. Until now, the room shook as the beacon came alive. Energy surged through the walls like thunder. Its core pulsed like a heartbeat, bright and terrifying. Then it released a signal, a sharp, piercing cry that cut through the stars. It was not a message of peace, not a request for mercy. It was something colder, a final plea. "We are dying. Come to us." The leaders waited. Hours passed. Days passed. The enemy grew closer. Every moment felt like eternity. And still no answer came. Hope began to wither once more. Some cursed the decision. Others prayed in silence. Perhaps the beacon had been nothing but a dead relic, a forgotten machine with no listener. But then, something moved in the sky. At first, the stars seemed to flicker. But then entire constellations disappeared, as if swallowed by shadows. A fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system. Their ships were unlike anything ever seen, black, sharp, alive with an unnatural glow. They did not drift like human ships. They moved like predators hunting in silence. Alarms blared in the command center. Screens lit up with warnings. Hearts raced. Humanity had reached for salvation, and perhaps summoned its doom. Then a voice echoed across every channel, deep and cold. Who dares call us? The command center froze. The question hung in the air like a blade. Humanity had made its last signal. Now the universe had answered. The message had been received. In the command center, every screen glowed with the same chilling words. Who dares call us? No one spoke. The air felt heavy, as if the walls themselves held their breath. For centuries, the galaxy had whispered of this species, but never had those whispers turned into reality. Until now, General Marcus Hale stood frozen, his jaw tight. He had expected silence. He had expected the beacon to fail, to be nothing but a relic from a forgotten age. But this was worse. The legends were alive. Dr. Elena Reyes leaned closer to the screen, her voice trembling but steady. They heard us. That means they still exist. A low murmur spread across the room. Some stared in awe, others in terror. One politician slammed his fist on the table. You've doomed us. We've called demons into our home. But no one dared shut off the signal. The presence on the other side was too strong, too real. The galaxy had many names for them, none spoken aloud. In alien archives, they were the monsters of the void. In ancient carvings, they were shown as black shadows tearing apart suns. On drifting ruins of forgotten worlds, their mark was etched in stone. A spiral of burning stars. No alien empire admitted to meeting them directly. But the stories were endless. One told of a proud reptilian race that had ruled 50 star systems. They believed they were untouchable. Then the dangerous species came. In 3 weeks, nothing remained of them. No cities, no fleets, not even ruins. It was as if the species had been erased from time itself. Another story came from a nomadic people who wandered the outer rim. They claimed they once saw these beings up close. Their eyes glowed like fire. Their ships moved as if alive, and their voices struck fear even into machines. The nomads fled, abandoning whole colonies, just to escape their gaze. And then there was the darkest tale of all. An ancient alliance of a dozen empires had once joined together to hunt the dangerous species. Armies greater than the galaxy had ever seen. Their fleets vanished. No survivors returned. Only a broken transmission reached the stars, repeating a single sentence. We told you not to come. Now those same shadows had answered humanity's call. The fleet at the edge of the solar system began to move. Black ships slid through the void like predators circling prey. No engines flared, no sound escaped, yet their speed was terrifying. Within hours, they were inside the orbit of Neptune. Panic spread across Earth. Civilian networks picked up the images. Families huddled around screens, watching shapes of nightmare enter their home system. Soldiers gripped their weapons, though they knew they were useless. Even the enemy, the alien invaders who had destroyed half the planet, slowed their advance, as if sensing something darker had arrived. In the command center, a voice spoke again. It was not a voice of flesh but of thunder. Deep, cold, echoing across every frequency. You are human. You are the ones who dare call us. General Hale stood straight. His mouth was dry, but his voice was firm. Yes, we are humanity. We are dying. We need help. Silence. Then came laughter. Not human laughter, but something harsh and metallic, like a storm breaking across iron skies. You know what we are, and yet you call. Brave or foolish? Dr. Reyes stepped forward. We know the stories, but we also know this: our enemy will kill us all. If you destroy us too, then you are no different from them. If you help us, then perhaps the galaxy will see you as more than monsters. For a moment, nothing replied. Then the screens filled with images. Not words, not faces, memories, cities burning, armies crushed, empires begging for mercy, all destroyed by the same black ships now standing at the edge of Earth's sky. The message was clear: we do not save. We end. And yet, something changed. The fleet did not fire. Instead, one ship, larger than a mountain, broke formation and began to descend toward Earth. The ground shook as its shadow passed across continents. In the command center, every light flickered. Systems screamed warnings. But still, the ship came closer. When it finally stopped, hanging in the skies above the Atlantic Ocean, the oceans themselves churned from its presence. A single beam of red light lanced down, striking the ruins of an old city. From the light, a figure emerged. It was not fully human, nor fully alien. Tall, armored, its skin like obsidian stone, its eyes glowing red. The air warped around it as if reality bent to its will. The figure spoke, and its voice carried not through sound, but through every mind on Earth. We are the exiled. We are the dangerous ones. And you are desperate enough to call us. General Hale's heart pounded. He knew there was no turning back. Humanity had called monsters into their home. Monsters who had destroyed empires. Monsters who could end them with a thought. But maybe, just maybe, they could be convinced to fight. The figure's eyes burned brighter as it studied the humans. Then it spoke again. Very well. Show us why you deserve to live. The dangerous species had arrived. The beacon's cry had been answered. The dangerous species had come. Their ships now filled the solar system, silent and black, moving like predators in a dark sea. Even the invading alien armada, the ones who had crushed humanity, hesitated at their approach. It was as if fear itself had entered the battlefield. On Earth, inside the underground command center, every leader knew there was no turning back. The call had been sent. The answer had come. And now humanity would face the price. A voice thundered again, echoing across every frequency, every machine, every mind. You dared to summon us. Now prove you are worth the risk of our time. General Marcus Hale stood in the center of the room. His jaw was tight, his eyes steady. Though his heart raced, he spoke with controlled strength. We are humanity. We called because we are dying. The enemy will erase us. Alone we cannot stand. But with you, the voice cut him off sharp as a blade. With us? Do you understand who you call human? We do not rescue. We do not ally. We end. The room shook as though the very walls feared the words. Dr. Elena Reyes stepped forward, her hands trembling but her voice steady. Then end our enemies. End those who would destroy us. If destruction is your way, then let it fall on them, not us. For a long moment, there was silence. Then a low, chilling laugh filled the room. Interesting. You beg not for peace, but for war. Perhaps your kind is not as weak as the others said. Above the Atlantic, the massive black ship hovered. Its surface glowed faintly with red veins of light, as though it was alive. Then, a beam struck down once more. The figure that had appeared earlier stepped closer, its glowing eyes scanning the ruins of the human city. Its presence bent reality. Cameras cracked. Soldiers clutched their heads. Civilians who looked directly at it fainted from fear. The figure's gaze turned toward the command center's live feed. Its voice entered every human mind like fire. You called. We heard. But why should you live when so many others have not? General Hale swallowed hard. His voice was iron. Because we are not like them. We do not bow. Even now, with nothing left, we fight. If we must burn, we will burn standing. That is why we called you. Not to beg, but to fight beside us. The figure tilted its head. Its eyes narrowed, glowing brighter. For the first time, it seemed curious. Fight beside? No one has ever dared to speak to us in such a way. Empires begged. Kings wept. Whole worlds surrendered before our name. And yet you, broken, dying, surrounded. You speak of standing, not kneeling. Dr. Reyes added quickly, her voice rising with emotion. We are humans. We do not surrender to fear. We face it. Even now, we are ready to fight no matter the cost. That is why you should choose us. The figure's laughter echoed again, darker this time, shaking the screens. Bravery, or madness, perhaps both. Very well. Show us. The command center shook as the figure raised one hand. Above Earth, the Black Fleet moved. For the first time, they turned not toward humanity, but toward the alien invaders who had hunted Earth for years. In the distance, the enemy armada began to retreat, as if sensing death itself. But the dangerous species did not allow retreat. Their ships blurred forward at impossible speed. In seconds, the void lit with fire. Enemy cruisers shattered like glass. Titans that had once required entire fleets to destroy were torn apart as if made of paper. Every screen on Earth filled with the sight of impossible destruction. The dangerous species did not fight with weapons alone. Their ships seemed alive, striking with claws of energy, tearing apart metal as if it were flesh. In minutes, half the enemy fleet was gone. The rest scattered in blind panic. Humanity watched in silence. For the first time in years, they saw their enemies run. And yet, fear remained. Because they all knew these monsters were not saving them. They were simply showing their power. The figure lowered its hand. The fleet stopped. Silence returned. You see, we can end them. We can end anyone. But why should we not end you as we ended them? The words pierced deeper than any weapon. The room froze. General Hale stepped forward. Because we are not like them. Because we do not fear strength, we respect it. Because we called you knowing the risk. That is why. The figure's burning eyes studied him. The silence stretched. Finally, it spoke. Very well. Then prove it. Give us something no other species dared to give. Do this, and perhaps we will consider your war ours. The lights flickered. The presence faded. The figure vanished. Only the echo of its words remained. Humanity had sent the call. The answer was not mercy, not alliance, but a test. And if they failed, the dangerous species would not need to kill them. Humanity would already be finished. The sky over Earth had never looked so dark. The enemy armada, the aliens who had nearly destroyed humanity, was gone. Shattered. Torn apart like fragile glass. In less than an hour, the most feared invaders in history had been crushed. Not by human courage. Not by human weapons. But by the fleet of shadows that had answered the beacon's call. Yet victory brought no cheers. Every person who watched the black ships knew the truth. Humanity had traded one terror for another. The largest vessel hovered above the Atlantic Ocean. It was vast, larger than any human city. Its surface shimmered like obsidian stone alive with red veins of fire. Clouds twisted around it. Lightning flashed where none should exist, and the oceans churned beneath its weight. From this monstrous ship, a single beam of crimson light struck downward, piercing the ruins of New York. The ground cracked, buildings crumbled, and from the beam, figures began to emerge. Not one, not two, dozens. They walked as though gravity itself obeyed them. Tall, armored, and alien. Their bodies seemed carved from stone, their movements smooth like shadows. Their eyes burned like dying suns. Each step they took shook the earth, though their feet made no sound. Humans hiding in the ruins froze. Soldiers raised weapons but dared not fire. Children wept, clutching their parents. Even animals went silent, as if the world itself recognized its new masters. Inside the underground command center, alarms blared. Screens filled with red warnings. The scientists and generals stared in disbelief. Dr. Elena Reyes whispered, "They are here, on Earth." General Marcus Hale tightened his jaw. "Then we meet them, face to face." The president looked at him, her voice trembling. "If we go, we may not come back." Hale's eyes were cold, determined. "If we hide, humanity will not come back. This is the only way." A transport was prepared. Within the hour, Hale, Reyes, and the president ascended to the ruined surface of New York. The city was silent, its skyscrapers broken skeletons against the storm-filled sky, and waiting in the center of that destruction was one of the beings. It stood taller than any human, wrapped in armor that seemed part of its flesh. Its face was hidden by a mask of dark metal, but its eyes glowed red through the slits. The air warped around it. The very ground cracked beneath its presence. When it spoke, the sound was not heard with ears but felt within the skull. "So, the humans stand before us." General Hale stepped forward. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady. Yes, we are the ones who called. The being tilted its head. You called us into your home. Few have dared. Fewer still survived. Dr. Reyes forced herself to speak. You destroyed our enemy with ease. But we know this was not for us. You wanted to show power. We understand that. Still, we ask for more. We ask for alliance. The being's eyes burned brighter. For a long time, it said nothing. Then, slowly, it raised one hand. The ruins around them groaned. Stone and steel lifted into the air as if weightless. A shattered skyscraper rose from the ground, suspended like a toy. Then, with a flick of the being's hand, the building crumbled into dust. We do not ally. We do not save. We decide. The words echoed through the ruins like thunder. Soldiers hidden in the shadows trembled. Civilians cried silently. General Hale clenched his fists. Then decide. Destroy us or stand with us. But do not linger in the shadows. We have called you. We do not fear your answer. The being froze. Its head tilted once more, studying him as though seeing something rare. Courage. Even in despair. Few speak to us without shaking. Perhaps your kind is different. From above, more beams of red light struck the city. More figures emerged. Dozens became hundreds. Soon the ruins of New York swarmed with these giants. Their eyes glowed in unison, their presence bending the very air. And then, something happened no human expected. They knelt. Not all. Not in surrender, but in recognition. The central figure turned to Hale and Reyes, its eyes burning. We will not destroy you. Not yet. You are different. You called us not to beg for mercy, but to beg for war. That makes you interesting. Dr. Reyes whispered. Then you will fight with us? The being's laughter rolled across the ruins like thunder. We will test you. If you pass, we will fight beside you. If you fail, we will finish what the enemy began. Above, the black fleet shifted in the skies. The oceans roared. The world trembled. The dangerous species had arrived on Earth. They had given humanity a chance. Not of peace, not of safety, but of trial. And every human knew the truth. The test of survival had only just begun. The ruins of New York were silent. Not from peace, but from fear. The dangerous species stood among the broken towers like shadows carved from stone. Their glowing eyes watched everything. Soldiers hidden in bunkers, civilians hiding in basements, leaders trembling in silence. For the first time in history, humanity spoke to monsters from the darkest legends. General Marcus Hale faced the central figure. His voice was steady, but his heart pounded like a drum. You said we must prove ourselves. Tell us how. The figure's eyes burned brighter. Its voice echoed in every human mind, deep and merciless. Prove? You do not understand. We demand. You obey. That is the bargain. Dr. Elena Reyes clenched her fists. Then say what you want. The figure raised its armored hand. The ground split open, rubble lifting into the air. From the earth, twisted remains of the alien invaders' technology floated upward. Burned metal, shattered weapons, melted armor. With a wave, the figure scattered them into dust. We want tribute, power, proof of courage, and a reason not to erase you. The words sent a shiver through everyone. Humanity had called for help, but help was not what these creatures offered. They wanted something in return, something dangerous. The president stepped forward, her voice trembling but strong. If you demand tribute, we can give resources. Food, technology, what we have left. The being's laughter shook the ruins. Food, technology, weak things. We consume stars. We break worlds. Your scraps are nothing. General Hale's jaw tightened. Then what do you want? The figure's gaze swept over them. Silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. Finally, it spoke. We want loyalty, not as slaves, as warriors. You will fight with us, bleed with us, and if you survive, you will earn our respect. Fail, and you will be forgotten. Dr. Reyes frowned. You want us to serve in your war? The figure leaned closer, its burning eyes locking on hers. We want to see if you are worthy of survival. No other species dared bargain with us. They begged. They wept. You stand. That is why you still breathe. For a moment, silence hung heavy in the ruins. Then General Hale answered, his voice strong. We do not beg. We do not kneel. If you want warriors, we will fight beside you. But not as slaves. As equals. The soldiers hidden in the shadows gasped. Even the president turned sharply toward Hale. Speaking of equality to these monsters was madness. But Hale did not flinch. The figure tilted its head, studying him. Slowly, its laughter rolled again. Equals? Bold words for a dying species. Very well. We accept. But there is a price. Dr. Reyes whispered. What price? The figure stretched out its hand. A red light shimmered, forming images in the air. Not of Earth, but of deep space. A planet surrounded by storms, burning with violent energy. Around it, alien warlords gathered, beasts far worse than those who had already attacked humanity. These are your enemy's masters, the true hand that drives their war. Destroy them with us, and your world may live. Fail, and your ashes will join theirs. Inside the command center, voices erupted through the speakers. Scientists protested. Politicians argued. Soldiers whispered in fear. Was this a deal or a death sentence? But General Hale's answer was firm. Then we will fight. If this is the only path, we accept. The figure's glowing eyes burned brighter. Its voice thundered like a storm. Good. We will give you our weapons. Our ships. But know this, our tools are alive. They will not obey the weak. If your people cannot master them, they will consume you. Dr. Reyes felt her stomach twist. This was no alliance. It was a gamble. Humanity was being handed fire, but fire that could burn its own hand. Still, she met the figure's gaze and said, Then we will master them. We must. The being's laughter rolled again, deeper, darker. Perhaps you are different. Perhaps you are not like the others. Very well, humans. The bargain is struck. You will fight beside us. For now. Above the Atlantic, the sky split open. Massive black ships descended lower, their hulls glowing with red veins of power. Strange objects rained down. Crates of living metal, weapons that pulsed like beating hearts, ships that hissed like predators. Soldiers stared in awe. Civilians cried in terror. Humanity had been given the tools of monsters. General Hale looked at the weapons with grim resolve. Then the bargain is made. We will fight. But remember this, we may be desperate, but we are not weak. The figure's red eyes burned with amusement. We will see, human. We will see. The dangerous species had given humanity its bargain. Not mercy, not peace. A deal with shadows. And now, the galaxy would witness if mankind could survive fighting side by side with monsters. The bargain had been struck. Humanity now carried weapons not made of steel, but of something alive. The crates dropped from the sky opened like beating hearts, spilling strange black metal armor that moved on its own. The ships that descended from the dangerous species fleet did not hum like machines. They growled, hissed, as though alive and waiting for prey. Soldiers stared in fear. Some refused to touch the alien weapons. Others, trembling, reached out. The armor crawled across their skin like liquid shadow, fusing to their bodies until they became something more than human. Stronger, faster. The weapons pulsed with red veins of energy, as if feeding on their courage or their fear. General Marcus Hale walked among his troops. His own armor wrapped around him, heavy yet light, whispering with an alien voice in the back of his mind. He did not show his fear. His men looked to him for strength, and strength was all he could give them. Dr. Elena Reyes studied the living machines with sharp eyes. She knew the risk. If humans could not control these weapons, they might consume them. But there was no time for caution. The next battle had already begun. At the edge of the solar system, the true enemy appeared. The invaders who had crushed Earth were not the masters. They were only servants. Now their masters arrived, a coalition of alien warlords, each race crueler than the last. Their fleets stretched across the stars, vast armadas armed with weapons designed to burn worlds. From their ships came the voice of arrogance. Humans, you were ours to crush, and now you crawl to monsters. It will not save you. But for the first time in history, humanity was not alone. The dangerous species fleet shifted forward. Their black ships glowed with red fire. Their presence alone bent the void. And standing between the two titans of war, small and fragile, was the human fleet rebuilt, reforged with alien shadow tech. The battle began with fire. The warlords unleashed a storm of plasma and radiation, weapons designed to wipe out continents. The human fleet should have shattered instantly, but the new armor absorbed the blasts, feeding on the energy. Ships once weak now burned with stolen power. General Hale's voice thundered across the comms. For Earth, for survival, fire. Human ships launched their weapons, not missiles or lasers, but living projectiles that screamed through the void like predators. They struck enemy cruisers and tore them apart from within, ripping through shields and armor as though feeding. The warlords faltered. For the first time, they faced prey that bit back. And then the dangerous species moved. Their black fleet blurred forward, tearing through enemy lines with impossible speed. Ships opened like claws, shredding entire battleships in a single strike. Red beams cut across the stars, splitting enemy dreadnoughts in half. No weapon could stop them. No shield could resist them. The galaxy had feared their power for centuries, and now humanity saw why. On the ground, battles raged too. Alien troops invaded Earth's last strongholds, but now they met humans armed with living armor. Soldiers once weak now leapt across rubble, tearing enemy machines apart with hands glowing red. The weapons guided them, whispered to them, demanded blood, and the soldiers obeyed. Dr. Reyes watched from the command center, her heart torn. Humanity was winning, but the cost was clear. Every soldier was becoming something else, part human, part monster. Would they remain themselves when the war ended? Yet there was no choice. Survival demanded sacrifice. Hours turned into days. The warlords fought with fury, but the tide had turned. For every human ship destroyed, 10 of the enemy burned. For every city attacked, the dangerous species answered with fire that shattered fleets. At last, the coalition began to retreat, their proud voices filled with fear. This is not victory. This is madness. You will destroy us all. General Hale, his armor cracked but still alive, stood on the deck of his flagship. His voice carried across the comms. No, this is survival, and you brought it upon yourselves. The humans and their new allies pushed forward, driving the enemy from the system. But even in victory, fear remained. As the last warlord fleets scattered into the void, the dangerous species ships did not celebrate. They simply hovered in silence, their black hulls glowing with faint red, watching, waiting. In the ruins of New York, the central figure appeared again, its burning eyes staring at the humans. You have fought. You have bled. You have proven that you are not weak. The war has turned. Because of you. Dr. Reyes stepped forward. Her voice was steady. Then we are allies? The figure's laughter rolled across the shattered city. Allies? No, human. Not yet. You have won a battle, not the war. And you still owe us. The bargain is not complete. General Hale met its burning gaze. Then what comes next? The figure's voice was like thunder. Next, you prove if your species deserves to exist at all. The dangerous species had fought beside humanity. The war had turned. But the true test, the final cost, was still to come. The warlords were gone. Their fleets scattered into the void. For the first time in years, the stars above Earth shone without the shadow of invaders. But victory felt hollow. The black fleet of the dangerous species still hung above Earth, silent and immense. Their red veins glowed like fire across the night sky, a reminder that humanity had not escaped destruction. It had only traded masters. In the underground command center, the leaders of Earth sat in silence. Every screen showed the same image. The central figure of the dangerous species, standing among the ruins of New York, waiting. General Marcus Hale broke the silence. They want us to choose. Dr. Elena Reyes nodded slowly. Yes, And whatever we decide will shape the future of our species. The three leaders walked out into the ruined city. The air was cold, the streets filled with silence. Civilians peeked from shattered windows, watching the scene like ghosts. The figure stood taller than any human, its eyes burning like red suns. When it spoke, its voice filled every mind on earth. You have fought, you have bled, you have proven strength. But the bargain is not complete. Now you will choose. The ground shook as more figures appeared, surrounding them. Their eyes glowed in unison, their presence bending the very air. Choice 1, serve us. You will fight our wars. You will bleed for our cause. In return, your world will live. Choice 2, refuse. Then we will end you now, as we ended countless others before you. The words struck like thunder. Humanity's fate balanced on a blade. The president's voice trembled but remained steady. If we serve you, what happens when your wars are over? The figure's laughter shook the ruins. There is no end to war. Only survival. Only the strong endure. General Hale clenched his fists. He had fought his whole life to protect humanity, but never had the choice been so impossible. To survive by bending the knee, or to risk extinction by standing free. Dr. Reyes whispered, if we choose servitude, we may live, but we will no longer be human. Hale's eyes burned with defiance. And if we choose defiance, we may die, but we will die as ourselves. The figure stepped closer, its shadow covering them. Decide, humans. Now. Around the world, people watched. Every soldier, every family, every child who had lost loved ones. All waited for the answer. The president looked at Hale and Reyes. Her face was pale, but her voice was firm. What does it mean to be human? To live in fear? Or to fight for freedom, no matter the cost? Hale raised his head. His voice was iron. We called you because we had no hope left, but we did not call you to own us. We will fight beside you, but never under you. If that means death, then so be it. The figure's eyes blazed brighter. For a moment, the world seemed to stop. Then came the laughter again, dark, cold, echoing across the sky, defiant to the end. Foolish, but interesting. The surrounding figures lowered their weapons, the central being tilted its head, studying them as though they were a puzzle. Very well. You will not serve us, but you will not die today. Instead, you will stand with us, not as slaves, not as equals, but as something new. We will see if your kind truly deserves the stars. Above, the black fleet shifted. The skies glowed red, but no attack came. Instead, the fleet turned, moving toward the distant void where the warlords had fled. The figure's voice thundered one last time. We are not allies. We are not friends. We are trial. Prove yourselves, humans. Survive beside us. Fail, and you will join the others we erased. And with that, the figures vanished into beams of crimson light, leaving only silence in the ruins of New York. For hours, the world did not move. Then, slowly, hope returned, not pure hope, but something harder. A fire. Humanity had not been destroyed. They had not been enslaved. They had chosen to remain free, even in the shadow of monsters. General Hale stood with his soldiers, his voice carrying across the ruins. This is not the end. This is the beginning. We are still here. And as long as we live, humanity will never kneel. Dr. Reyes whispered, almost to herself. We called them. We woke them. And now the galaxy will never be the same. The president looked to the stars, her eyes fierce. Then let the galaxy watch. Let them fear. For humanity has made its choice. Above Earth, the stars burned brighter than ever. The war had turned. The bargain had been made. The final choice had been spoken. And now, the future of humanity would be written not in whispers, but in fire.